Janice, the Yadarin ambassador, stared at the bulge in Vincent Hicks's pants, her alien mind racing with curiosity about what lay beneath. She had come to Earth with one mission: to uncover the secrets of human male anatomy, a subject of endless speculation among her all-female alien society. The dimly lit New York City bar buzzed with activity as Janice, disguised as a human female through advanced Yadarin technology, awkwardly approached Vincent. Her cloaked ship, hidden in a remote area outside the city, seemed a distant memory as she focused on her target. Vincent, a rugged ex-military man now working as a private security consultant, noticed Janice's strange behavior immediately. His combat-trained instincts kicked in, sensing something was off about this woman. As Janice fumbled through her rehearsed greeting, Vincent's suspicions grew. In a swift motion, Vincent confronted Janice, catching her off guard. The alien ambassador, unprepared for such directness, inadvertently revealed her true nature. Vincent, drawing on his years of military experience, quickly subdued Janice using his combat skills. Whisking her away to a secure location, Vincent demanded answers. Janice, realizing her cover was blown, explained her mission and the existence of the Yadarin Intergalactic Council. Vincent's mind raced, comprehending the potential threat to Earth if the Yadarins decided to invade based on Janice's report. Making a split-second decision, Vincent chose to keep Janice's presence a secret from authorities. He saw an opportunity to gather intelligence on the Yadarins while helping Janice learn about human males. Establishing clear boundaries, Vincent insisted on maintaining physical distance, a concept Janice struggled to understand given her alien perspective on privacy and personal space. As Vincent began explaining human anatomy, he discovered the vast differences between Yadarin and human physiology. Misunderstandings and awkward situations ensued, with Janice's curiosity about male genitalia intensifying by the minute. Vincent found himself in an increasingly tense situation, trying to balance Janice's inquisitiveness with his own need to maintain professional boundaries. Unbeknownst to them, a covert human organization dedicated to monitoring extraterrestrial activity had detected traces of Janice's arrival. They dispatched a team to investigate, setting the stage for a potential conflict with Vincent and Janice. Vincent realized he faced a daunting challenge: satisfying Janice's curiosity while protecting Earth's interests and his own integrity. He needed to find a way to provide the information the alien ambassador sought without compromising himself or his planet. All the while, he had to stay one step ahead of the approaching covert human organization. As Janice's questions became more probing and specific, Vincent felt the weight of responsibility on his shoulders. He knew that his actions and explanations could shape the future relations between Earth and the Yadarin society. The fate of two worlds now rested on his ability to navigate this delicate situation and manage the aliens' fascination with what lay between the legs of human males. Vincent took a deep breath, steadying himself as he faced the curious alien ambassador. Janice's eyes, an otherworldly shade of violet, blinked rapidly as she awaited his next move. He knew he had to approach this delicate situation with care and precision. "All right, Janice," Vincent said, his voice calm and measured. "I understand your curiosity, but we need to approach this systematically. Let's start with the basics of human biology." He retrieved a medical textbook from a nearby shelf, flipping it open to a diagram of the human body. Janice leaned in, her alien features contorting in a mix of fascination and confusion. "This," Vincent explained, pointing to the anatomical illustration, "is the general structure of a human male." Janice tilted her head, her antennae twitching slightly. "But where is the energy transfer node? How do you reproduce without it?" Vincent blinked, taken aback by the question. "Energy transfer node? We don't have anything like that. Human reproduction is physical." As he delved deeper into the explanation, using diagrams and clinical terms, Janice's misunderstandings became increasingly apparent. Her alien perspective on biology and reproduction created a series of comical and awkward moments. "So the males don't dissolve after mating?" Janice asked, genuine concern in her voice. Vincent choked back a laugh. "No, definitely not. We remain intact." Days passed as Vincent continued his impromptu biology lessons. He found himself growing more comfortable around Janus, his initial suspicion giving way to genuine curiosity about her world. One evening, as they sat reviewing a holographic display of human cellular structure, Vincent decided to broach a new topic. "Janus, I've been thinking. We've spent all this time discussing human biology, but I know almost nothing about your people. What if we made this a cultural exchange?" Janus's eyes lit up, her skin shifting to a lighter shade of blue, an indication of excitement Vincent had learned. "That would be most agreeable. What would you like to know?" As they delved into discussions about Yadaran technology and society, Vincent found himself fascinated. Janus described a world of advanced energy manipulation, where physical forms were malleable and reproduction occurred through complex energy transfers. "So that's why you were so confused about human anatomy," Vincent mused. "Your species doesn't have fixed physical forms in the same way we do." Janus nodded, her form shimmer slightly as if to emphasize the point. "Correct. The concept of static biology is alien to us." As their conversations deepened, Janus's demeanor changed. She seemed to withdraw slightly, her normally vibrant color dulling. Vincent, now attuned to her subtle shifts, noticed immediately. "What's wrong, Janus?" he asked, genuine concern in his voice. Janus hesitated, her form flickering slightly. "Vincent, there's something I need to tell you. The true nature of my mission, it's more complex than I initially revealed." She went on to explain the genetic crisis facing her people, how Yadaran scientists believed human male DNA could be the key to their survival. As she spoke, Vincent felt a weight settle in his chest. The implications of this revelation were staggering. Before he could fully process this information, a flicker of movement outside the window caught his attention. Years of military training kicked in, and he immediately recognized the signs of surveillance. "Janus, we need to move," he said urgently, already formulating an escape plan. "We're being watched." As they quickly gathered essential items, Vincent's mind raced. He knew he needed help, someone who could understand the delicate nature of this situation. An old memory surfaced. Colonel Jack Harper, his former commanding officer who now headed a classified task force dealing with extraterrestrial relations. Vincent pulled out a secure communication device, praying that Harper's old emergency line was still active. As he punched in the code, he caught Janus's eye. The alien ambassador looked scared, vulnerable in a way he hadn't seen before. In that moment, Vincent realized his feelings for Janus had grown beyond mere curiosity or duty. "It's going to be okay," he assured her, surprising himself with the depth of emotion in his voice. "I won't let anything happen to you." As they prepared to leave the safe house, Vincent felt the weight of responsibility pressing down on him. He was now at the center of a situation that could change the course of human history, caught between his duty to Earth and his growing feelings for an alien being. The sound of vehicles approaching in the distance spurred them into action. Vincent took Janus's hand, marveling at the strange texture of her skin, and led her towards the back exit. As they slipped out into the gathering darkness, he knew they were stepping into uncharted territory, both literally and figuratively. The fate of two species now rested in their hands, and the next few hours would determine whether their worlds would collide in peace or conflict. Vincent tightened his grip on Janus's hand as they melded into the shadows, the future uncertain but full of possibility. As they melted into the shadows, Vincent's grip on Janus's hand tightened. The alien texture of her skin reminded him of the vast differences between their species, yet he felt an undeniable connection growing between them. Their quiet escape was short-lived, however, as a distant hum caught Vincent's attention. "That sound," Janus whispered, her antennae twitching. "It's my ship's cloaking system malfunctioning." Vincent's heart raced. "How bad is it?" "Bad enough to compromise our position," Janus replied, her skin shifting to a deeper blue, indicating concern. They quickened their pace, weaving through the outskirts of New York City. The once hidden Yadaran vessel was now partially visible, its sleek form shimmering in and out of sight like a mirage. As they approached, Vincent noticed a gathering crowd of civilians, their phones pointed skyward. "UFO, it's real!" someone shouted, excitement rippling through the onlookers. Vincent pulled Janus closer, using his body to shield her from view. We need to move faster, he urged. Your ship's visibility is drawing too much attention. They ducked into an alley, narrowly avoiding a police cruiser that sped past, its siren wailing. Vincent's military training kicked in as he assessed their options. We need to get to your ship and repair the cloaking device before we can contact Colonel Harper, he decided. Janice nodded, her form shimmering slightly with nervous energy. I can fix it, but we need to reach the ship first. Their journey became a tense game of cat and mouse. Vincent's combat experience proved invaluable as they navigated through the city's back streets and abandoned lots. At one point, they encountered a police checkpoint, forcing them to backtrack and find an alternate route. As they neared the ship's location, Vincent spotted a group of UFO enthusiasts gathered near a field. Their excited chatter carried on the night air. I saw it with my own eyes. It was right there, then it wasn't. Vincent pulled Janice behind a dumpster, his breath hot against her ear as he whispered, We'll need to circle around. There's too many people. Just as they were about to move, floodlights illuminated the area. Vincent's heart sank as he recognized the insignia on the vehicles rolling in, the Extraterrestrial Response Unit, ERSU. Damn, he muttered. They've already secured the perimeter. Janice's skin paled, her alien features contorting with worry. What do we do now? Vincent scanned the area, his mind racing. His gaze fell on a nearby power substation. I have an idea, he said, a determined glint in his eye. With practiced stealth, Vincent approached the substation. He located the main switch and, taking a deep breath, pulled it down. The area plunged into darkness, confused shouts erupting from the ERU team and civilians alike. Now! Vincent grabbed Janice's hand and they sprinted towards the ship. They had almost reached it when a voice rang out. Stop right there! Vincent turned to see Commander Marcus Steele, the ERU team leader, his weapon trained on them. Without hesitation, Vincent pushed Janice behind him, shielding her with his body. A shot rang out and Vincent felt a searing pain in his arm. He stumbled but remained standing, determined to protect Janice. Vincent, Janice cried, her voice filled with concern and something more, a deepening connection between them. They managed to reach the ship's entrance, Vincent's blood leaving a trail behind them. Once inside, Janice immediately set to work on the cloaking device. The systems are partially organic, she explained as her hands moved deftly over the controls. It's a blend of Yadaran biotechnology and mechanical components. Vincent, clutching his wounded arm, stood guard at the entrance. Fascinating, he said, genuinely intrigued despite their dire situation. Can you fix it? Janice nodded, her form rippling with concentration. Yes, but it will take time. Vincent activated the ship's communication array, punching in the emergency code for Colonel Jack Harper. As the system connected, he heard the ERU team attempting to breach the ship's defenses. Harper here, a gruff voice answered. Colonel, it's Vincent Hicks. We have a situation involving extraterrestrial contact. I need your help. Vincent quickly explained the circumstances, emphasizing the potential for peaceful relations with the Yadarans and their genetic crisis. Harper listened intently, the gravity of the situation evident in his voice. I'll intervene, Hicks, but it'll take time to mobilize and get clearance. Can you hold out? Vincent glanced at Janice, then at the ship's entrance where the ERU's efforts were intensifying. We'll try, sir, but please, hurry. As Janice worked on the repairs, Vincent helped fortify their position using the ship's internal security systems. Their collaboration was seamless, Vincent's strategic mind complementing Janice's technological expertise. The ERU's attempts to breach the ship grew more aggressive. Vincent could hear Commander Steele barking orders outside. They were running out of time. Janice, Vincent called, an idea forming. Is the ship capable of a short atmospheric hop? Janice looked up, her alien eyes widening with understanding. Yes, but it's risky with the systems only partially repaired. Vincent nodded, his expression determined. It's a risk we'll have to take. We need to buy time until Colonel Harper arrives. As they prepared for takeoff, Vincent marveled at how naturally they worked together. His intuitive grasp of evasive tactics merged seamlessly with Janice's knowledge of Yadaran technology. The ship responded to their combined input, systems humming to life. Just as Commander Steele's team began to break through the outer defenses, the ship lifted off. Its cloaking device sputtered but held, rendering them nearly invisible to the astonished ERU team below. As they soared through the night sky, Vincent and Janus shared a look of relief and something more, a growing bond that transcended their species' differences. They were fugitives now, but united in their goal. Vincent set course for a remote location, where they hoped to rendezvous with Colonel Harper's task force. As Earth fell away beneath them, both human and alien contemplated the challenges that lay ahead in bridging their two worlds, and the unexpected connection that had formed between them. As Earth fell away beneath them, both human and alien contemplated the challenges that lay ahead in bridging their two worlds, and the unexpected connection that had formed between them. Their moment of respite was short-lived. The ship suddenly lurched, buffeted by violent winds. Vincent gripped the nearest handhold, his military instincts kicking in. "What's happening?" he asked, scanning the cockpit displays. Janus's fingers danced over the controls, her form rippling with concentration. "We've entered a severe thunderstorm. The cloaking device is interfering with our stabilizers." Lightning flashed outside, illuminating roiling clouds. Rain pelted the view screen as thunder boomed around them. The ship bucked and swayed, struggling against the elements. Vincent's pilot training surged to the forefront of his mind. "Let me help," he said, moving to the co-pilot's seat. "Guide me through your systems." Together, they wrestled with the controls. Vincent's understanding of atmospheric flight complemented Janus's knowledge of Yadaran technology. They worked in tandem, adjusting thrust and stabilizers, navigating through the turbulence. A particularly violent gust sent them into a spin. Alarms blared as the ship plummeted. Vincent's hands flew over the unfamiliar controls, following Janus's rapid-fire instructions. With a bone-jarring thud, they broke through the cloud cover. A vast expanse of dense forest stretched below them. Vincent spotted a small clearing and pointed. "There!" Janus nodded, her skin paling with the effort of controlling their descent. They skimmed the treetops, branches scraping the hull. With a final lurch, the ship touched down in the clearing, skidding to a stop in the mud. For a moment, they sat in stunned silence, the only sound the patter of rain on the hull and the fading rumble of thunder. "Nice flying," Vincent said, a wry smile tugging at his lips. Janus's color slowly returned to normal. "Your assistance was invaluable." Their relief was short-lived. A series of warning lights flashed on the control panel. Janus's expression fell as she interpreted the readouts. "The power core is damaged," she said, her voice tight with concern. "We won't be able to take off without repairs." Vincent nodded, his mind already shifting to survival mode. "We need to assess our situation. Let's check our surroundings." They exited the ship, the cool night air a stark contrast to the stuffy cockpit. Towering pine trees surrounded them, their branches swaying in the dying wind. The clearing was small, barely large enough for the ship. Mud squelched under their feet as they circled the vessel, examining the damage. As Vincent reached up to inspect a scorch mark on the hull, a sharp pain lanced through his arm. He hissed, clutching the wound from his earlier encounter with the ERU. Janus was at his side instantly, her alien eyes wide with concern. "Your injury has worsened," she said, gently examining his arm. I may be able to help." Vincent raised an eyebrow. "You have medical training?" "Not exactly," Janus replied, her skin shifting to a deeper blue. "Yadaran physiology includes advanced healing capabilities. I could use my biological abilities to treat your wound, but—" She hesitated, her form shimmering slightly. Vincent nodded encouragingly. "The process requires a deep physical connection," Janus continued. "It goes beyond what humans typically experience. It would allow me to channel my healing energy directly into your body." Vincent considered her words, weighing the risk against the throbbing pain in his arm. Finally, he nodded. "All right. What do I need to do?" Janus guided him to sit on a fallen log. She knelt beside him, her alien features softening. "Try to relax," she said softly. "This may feel intense." She placed her hands on either side of his wound, At first, Vincent felt only a slight tingling. Then warmth began to spread through his arm, followed by a rush of sensation that took his breath away. Suddenly, he wasn't just feeling the healing energy. He was experiencing Janice's thoughts, her emotions. He saw flashes of her homeworld, felt her loneliness on her mission, her growing affection for him. In turn, he knew she was seeing into his mind, his sense of duty, his isolation, the unexpected connection he'd formed with her. The intensity of the experience was overwhelming. Vincent gasped, his free hand instinctively grasping Janice's arm. As their skin made contact, the connection deepened. For a timeless moment, they were one being, human and alien, intertwined in a way that defied explanation. When it ended, Vincent found himself breathing heavily, his mind blown from the experience. He looked down at his arm. The wound was gone, leaving only a faint scar. "That was," he began, struggling to find words. "Yes," Janice said simply, her eyes meeting his with a new depth of understanding. As they sat there processing what had just happened, neither noticed the faint pulse of energy that emanated from Janice's body. Unknown to them, this signal streaked across space, carrying with it the news of a successful connection between Yadarin and human. In the distance, the faint sound of engines broke the forest's silence. Vincent's head snapped up, his military training asserting itself once more. "We've got company," he said, helping Janice to her feet. "We need to make a decision fast." They shared a look, both aware of the monumental choice before them. Repair the ship and potentially lead Earth forces to the Yadarin homeworld, or stay and face whatever was coming, hoping for a peaceful resolution. As the sound of vehicles grew louder, Vincent and Janice moved back towards the ship, their newfound bond giving them strength even as it complicated their loyalties. The forest around them seemed to hold its breath, waiting to see what the dawn would bring. The forest around them seemed to hold its breath, waiting to see what the dawn would reveal. As the first rays of sunlight filtered through the trees, the sound of approaching vehicles grew louder, echoing through the clearing. Vincent tensed, his military instincts kicking into high gear. "They're coming," he said, voice low and urgent. "We need to make a decision now." Janice nodded, her alien features set with tenacity. "We can't lead them to my homeworld. The consequences could be catastrophic." Vincent's mind raced, weighing their options. Suddenly, he remembered the emergency beacon in his old military gear. It was a risk, but one they had to take. "I have an idea," he said, reaching for his pack. "This might bring help, but it'll also give away our position." He activated the beacon, its steady pulse cutting through the morning air. Janice watched, her form shimmering with a mix of hope and apprehension. No sooner had the beacon begun its transmission than the ship's sensors came to life, blaring an urgent warning. Janice rushed to the console, her hands flying over the controls. "Multiple objects entering Earth's atmosphere," she reported, her voice tight with concern. "Yadarin vessels. They must have detected the signal from our connection." Vincent's eyes widened as he realized the implications. Their healing session had inadvertently called for reinforcements, complicating an already precarious situation. The sound of engines grew louder, and through the trees, they could see the first of the ERU vehicles entering the clearing. Commander Steele's voice rang out, amplified by a megaphone. "This is Commander Marcus Steele of the Earth Response Unit. You are surrounded. Come out with your hands up." Vincent and Janice shared a look, both understanding the gravity of their situation. With quick, efficient movements, they began to prepare their defenses. Vincent's military training took over as he assessed their surroundings. He directed Janice to use the ship's remaining functional systems to create a defensive perimeter while he gathered materials from the forest floor. "We need to buy time," he explained, piling branches and debris to create makeshift barriers. "If we can hold out until Colonel Harper arrives, we might have a chance at a peaceful resolution." As they worked, the clearing erupted into a flurry of activity. ERU agents swarmed out of their vehicles, deploying advanced containment technology. A shimmering field began to form around the perimeter, cutting off any hope of escape. Just as the situation seemed to be spiraling out of control, a deep thrumming filled the air. Vincent and Janice looked up to see a massive Yadarin ship descending through the clouds, its sleek design a stark contrast to the military vehicles below. The ERU team froze, their weapons trained on the new arrival. The Yadaran ship hovered above the clearing, its presence alone halting the advance of Steele's forces. A hatch opened on the underside of the ship, and a figure descended on a beam of light. As it touched down, Vincent recognized the regal bearing of a Yadaran leader. "Matriarch Zara," Janus whispered, her form rippling with a mix of respect and trepidation. The matriarch's voice boomed across the clearing, translated by advanced technology. "I am Matriarch Zara of the Yadaran people. We demand the immediate release of our emissary and the human male specimen." Commander Steele stepped forward, his eyebrows furrowed. "This is Earth territory. Your demands hold no weight here. Stand down and prepare to be detained." Vincent saw the situation teetering on the brink of disaster. Without hesitation, he moved to the front of the ship, hands raised in a gesture of peace. "Wait," he called out, his voice cutting through the tension. "There's been a misunderstanding. We have an opportunity here for peaceful cooperation." All eyes turned to Vincent as he stood between the two factions. He took a deep breath, knowing his next words could determine the fate of both species. "Commander Steele, the Yadarans aren't here to invade. They're facing a genetic crisis that could lead to their extinction. Janus was sent here to find a solution, and she believes humans might hold the key." He turned to Matriarch Zara, his voice steady. "Matriarch, Earth isn't a threat to your people. We have the potential to help each other, to forge an alliance that could benefit both our species." As Vincent spoke, a new sound joined the chaos, the distinctive roar of military transports. Colonel Harper's task force had arrived, adding yet another layer to the already complex standoff. Harper quickly took in the scene, his experienced eyes assessing the delicate balance of power. He approached the center of the clearing, nodding to Vincent as he passed. "I'm Colonel Jack Harper," he announced, addressing both Steele and Zara. "I propose we take a step back and open a dialogue. There's clearly more to this situation than meets the eye." As the leaders began to cautiously engage in conversation, Janus stepped forward. Her alien features were set with dedication as she addressed the assembled group. "There's something you all need to know," she said, her voice clear and unwavering. "My research has uncovered an extraordinary compatibility between human and Yadaran biology. A cooperative effort could not only solve our genetic crisis, but also lead to significant advancements in human medical science." This revelation sent a ripple through the gathered forces. Commander Steele's hard expression softened slightly as he considered the implications. Matriarch Zara's posture shifted, her aggressive stance giving way to cautious interest. As the negotiations began in earnest, a new crisis emerged. The ship's damaged power core, pushed to its limits by recent events, began to emit an ominous hum. Warning lights flashed across the control panel, signaling an imminent catastrophe. "The core is destabilizing," Janus called out, her hands flying over the controls. "If it breaches, the resulting explosion could devastate this entire area." The energy fluctuations from the failing core interfered with the ERU's containment field, creating a cascading effect that threatened to tear apart the very fabric of space around them. In that moment, all previous conflicts were forgotten. Human and Yadaran alike recognized the need for immediate action. Vincent took charge, his military training kicking into high gear. "We need to work together," he shouted above the growing whine of the core. "Janus, coordinate with the Yadaran engineers. Commander Steele, we'll need your team's containment technology. Colonel Harper, have your people set up a perimeter in case we need to evacuate." As the disparate groups scrambled to address the crisis, an unexpected synergy began to form. Human technical experts and Yadaran scientists found common ground, their combined knowledge proving to be greater than the sum of its parts. Vincent moved between the groups, facilitating communication and combining ideas. He watched in awe as human intuition melded with Yadaran technological prowess, creating solutions that neither species could have devised alone. The whine of the core reached a fever pitch, and for a heart-stopping moment, it seemed their efforts would be in vain. Then, with a final surge of combined human and Yadaran technology, the core stabilized. The warning lights dimmed, and the oppressive hum faded to a gentle purr, A collective sigh of relief swept through the clearing. Humans and Yadurans alike shared looks of exhausted triumph, the barriers between them having crumbled in the face of their shared victory. As the immediate danger passed, the assembled leaders gathered once more. The atmosphere had shifted dramatically, the earlier hostility replaced by a tentative respect. Colonel Harper stepped forward, addressing the group. What we've just witnessed here is proof of what we can achieve together. I propose we continue these discussions in a more formal setting. Commander Steele nodded his agreement, his earlier skepticism visibly softened. I concur. The potential benefits of cooperation are significant. Matriarch Zara regarded the humans with new interest. Perhaps we have been too hasty in our judgments. There is much we could learn from each other. As the leaders began to hash out the details of future negotiations, Vincent and Janus stood apart, watching the scene unfold. We did it, Vincent said softly, a mix of disbelief and hope in his voice. Janus's form shimmered with what Vincent now recognized as joy. This is only the beginning, she replied. There are still many challenges ahead. Vincent nodded, his mind already racing with the possibilities and potential pitfalls of this newfound alliance. As the sun climbed higher in the sky, casting its light over humans and Yadurans working side by side, he couldn't help but feel that they were standing on the brink of a new era for both their species. The immediate crisis had been averted, but the real work was just beginning. Questions of diplomatic relations, genetic exchange, and the integration of their vastly different cultures loomed on the horizon. Vincent and Janus exchanged a look, both aware that their journey together was just the beginning. The immediate crisis had been averted, but the real work was just beginning. Questions of diplomatic relations, genetic exchange, and the integration of their vastly different cultures loomed on the horizon. Vincent and Janus exchanged a look, both aware that their journey together was a long way to go. Colonel Harper surveyed the scene, his eyes taking in the unlikely alliance that had formed in the wake of the near disaster. He stepped forward, his voice carrying across the clearing. Ladies and gentlemen, what we've witnessed here today is unprecedented. We stand at a crossroads of history, and our next steps will shape the future of both our species. He paused, letting his words sink in. I propose an emergency summit to address our immediate concerns and lay the groundwork for future cooperation. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the assembled humans and Yadurans. Commander Steele nodded, his earlier hostility replaced by cautious interest. Matriarch Zara's form shimmered with what Vincent now recognized as approval. A wise suggestion, Colonel, Zara said, her translated voice resonating with authority. Where do you propose we hold these talks? Harper gestured to a young lieutenant who quickly approached with a tablet. There's a secure facility about 30 miles from here. It's designed for high-level meetings and can accommodate both human and non-human delegates. We can ensure privacy and safety for all parties involved. As preparations began, Vincent felt a hand on his shoulder. He turned to see Colonel Harper, a thoughtful expression on his face. Vincent, you and Janus have a unique perspective on this situation. I want you two to act as cultural liaisons during these talks. Help us understand each other better. Vincent nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. He glanced at Janus, who inclined her head in agreement. As the clearing buzzed with activity, Vincent and Janus found themselves ushered into a sleek black vehicle. The doors sealed with a pneumatic hiss, creating a bubble of relative quiet. Vincent leaned back in his seat, his mind turning from the events of the past few hours. He turned to Janus, whose alien features were set in contemplation. So, he said, breaking the silence, cultural liaisons. That's quite a promotion from escaped test subject. Janus's form rippled with what Vincent had come to recognize as amusement. Indeed, it seems our unintended adventure has placed us in a unique position. Her expression grew serious. Vincent, I must ask, are you comfortable with this arrangement? I know my people's interest in human genetics must seem concerning. Vincent considered her words carefully. I'd be lying if I said it didn't make me a bit uneasy. The idea of being a specimen doesn't sit well with me. But after experiencing your healing technology firsthand, I can see the potential benefits. Janice nodded, her form shifting in a way that conveyed both understanding and relief. I assure you, our intentions are purely scientific. We seek cooperation, not exploitation. The rest of the journey passed in thoughtful silence, broken only by the occasional update from their driver. As they approached the facility, Vincent caught his first glimpse of their destination, a low, sprawling complex of sleek buildings surrounded by a high-tech security perimeter. Inside, they were led to a large conference room. The space had been hastily adapted to accommodate both human and Yadiran physiology, with a mix of standard chairs and more abstract structures that Vincent assumed were for the Yadirans. As delegates filed in, Vincent and Janice took their places near the head of the table. Colonel Harper stood at the front, calling the meeting to order. Welcome, everyone. We're here to lay the groundwork for what could be the most significant interspecies cooperation in Earth's history. He gestured to Matriarch Zara. Matriarch, perhaps you could begin by explaining your situation in more detail. Zara moved forward, her form seeming to expand as she addressed the room. My people face a crisis that threatens our very existence. Our genetic diversity has reached a critical low point, leading to increased susceptibility to disease and decreased fertility. She paused, her gaze sweeping the room. Our scientists believe that human genetic material could be the key to our salvation. We propose a collaborative research program with voluntary human participation in exchange for our advanced medical technology. Commander Steele leaned forward, his brow furrowed. And how can we be sure this research program won't be used to develop biological weapons against us? What guarantees do we have that you won't simply harvest genetic material without consent? The tension in the room ratcheted up several notches. Vincent felt Janice stiffen beside him, her form vibrating with indignation. Before she could respond, he stood up. If I may, Vincent said, drawing all eyes to him, I've experienced Yadiran medical technology firsthand. It's intimate, yes, but non-invasive. The process I underwent was... He paused, searching for the right words. It was healing in a way I've never experienced before. Janice rose beside him, her form shimmering with gratitude. What Vincent experienced is just a fraction of what we could achieve together. Our technology could cure genetic disorders, extend human lifespans, perhaps even regenerate lost limbs. As Janice spoke, Vincent noticed a group of human scientists huddled together, their expressions a mix of skepticism and impossibly strong excitement. One of them, a woman with sharp features and intense eyes, caught Colonel Harper's attention and whispered urgently in his ear. Harper nodded and addressed the room. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, one of our leading geneticists, has a proposal. Dr. Rodriguez stepped forward, her eyes bright with enthusiasm. The potential for scientific advancement here is staggering. I propose we establish a joint research team with equal representation from both species. We could explore the compatibility between human and Yadiran biology in a controlled, ethical manner. The suggestion sparked a flurry of discussion. Vincent watched as Colonel Harper conferred quietly with Commander Steele and Matriarch Zara. After a few moments, Harper raised his hand for silence. I believe we have the beginnings of a way forward, he said. I propose a phased approach. We start small, a limited scientific exchange with strict oversight from both sides. This allows us to build trust and thoroughly evaluate the risks and benefits. Matriarch Zara's form rippled with what Vincent interpreted as approval. A prudent approach, Colonel. To demonstrate our good faith, we are prepared to share treatments for several human genetic disorders that our science has already conquered. Commander Steele nodded slowly, his earlier hostility tempered by cautious optimism. Agreed, but I insist on maintaining a security presence during all interactions and research activities. As the details of the agreement were hammered out, Vincent found himself continuously called upon to provide insights and clarifications. He and Janice worked in tandem, bridging cultural gaps and smoothing over misunderstandings. Hours passed, and finally a preliminary agreement was reached. As the exhausted delegates prepared to depart, Colonel Harper called for attention one last time. Before we conclude, there's one more matter to address, he said, his gaze falling on Vincent and Janice. Given the unique role you two have played in bringing us together, I'm appointing you as co-directors of a new Human Yadarin Liaison Office. Vincent blinked in surprise, feeling the weight of responsibility settle even more heavily on his shoulders. He glanced at Janus, seeing his own mix of excitement and apprehension mirrored in her alien features. As they left the conference room, Vincent couldn't shake the feeling that their lives had irrevocably changed. The challenges ahead were daunting, but as he looked at Janus, he felt a surge of persistence. Whatever came next, they would face it together. Together. As they stepped out of the conference room, the weight of their new responsibilities settled upon them like a tangible force. The following weeks were a whirlwind of activity. The Human Yadarin Liaison Office quickly became the focal point of the collaboration, with Vincent and Janus working tirelessly to bridge the gap between their species. However, as news of the interspecies partnership spread, they found themselves facing an unexpected challenge. A crowd had gathered outside the newly established research facility, their angry voices carrying over the security perimeter. Vincent peered out the window, his brow furrowing at the sight of protest signs and agitated faces. "This doesn't look good," he muttered, turning to Janus. Her form shimmered with concern. "I feared this might happen. Your people are understandably wary of the unknown." Before Vincent could respond, Colonel Harper strode into the room, his face grim. "We've got a situation brewing out there. The protesters are led by a man named Derek Chambers. He's been all over the media, stirring up fears about alien experimentation and genetic manipulation." Vincent ran a hand through his hair, frustration evident in his voice. "We need to address this head-on. The longer we stay silent, the more room we leave for speculation and fear." Harper nodded. "I agree. That's why I'm organizing a public forum. We need you two front and center, explaining the nature of our collaboration and answering questions." The forum was held in a large auditorium, packed to capacity with a mix of curious citizens, skeptical reporters, and vocal protesters. Vincent took a deep breath as he stepped up to the podium, acutely aware of the hundreds of eyes fixed upon him. "Good evening," he began, his voice steady despite his nerves. "I'm here to share my personal experiences with Yadarin technology and to address your concerns about our collaboration." For the next hour, Vincent recounted his journey in detail, emphasizing the non-invasive nature of Yadarin healing and its potential benefits for human medicine. Janus supported his testimony with scientific explanations, carefully avoiding complex terminology to ensure the audience could understand. As Vincent concluded his speech, a man stood up from the audience, his eyes blazing with intensity. "That's a nice story, but how do we know you're not just a puppet for these aliens?" Vincent recognized the man from the news reports, Derek Chambers, the leader of the protests. The accusation hit him like a physical blow, forcing him to confront his own conflicted feelings about his relationship with Janus and his role in the collaboration. "Mr. Chambers, I understand your concerns," Vincent replied, keeping his voice level. "But I can assure you, I'm here of my own free will. The Yadarins have been nothing but transparent in their dealings with us." Chambers wasn't satisfied. "And what about the long-term effects of this non-invasive technology? How do we know they're not secretly altering our DNA, making us more like them?" The question hung in the air, and Vincent felt a moment of doubt. He glanced at Janus, seeing the tension in her alien features. It was a valid concern, one that he himself had grappled with. Before he could respond, Janus stepped forward. "If I may," she said, her translated voice calm and clear, "our technology is designed to heal, not to alter. We seek to learn from your genetic diversity, not to change it. The research we conduct is open and transparent, with oversight from both human and Yadarin authorities." As the forum continued, Vincent found himself repeatedly defending the collaboration, his conviction growing stronger with each answer. By the end of the evening, while not everyone was convinced, there was a palpable shift in the atmosphere. Many who had come with doubts left with a newfound curiosity about the potential benefits of the partnership. Later that night, as Vincent and Janus debriefed in their office, she turned to him, her form rippling with what he now recognized as concern. "Vincent, there's something I need to tell you," she said, her voice low. "There's growing discord among my people. A faction led by Counselor Vex believes we're moving too slowly. They're pushing for more aggressive methods of acquiring human genetic material. Vincent felt a chill run down his spine. How aggressive are we talking? Janus's form shimmered with distress. There's talk of covert operations on Earth. Unauthorized sample collection. Vincent's mind raced, considering the implications. If such an operation were discovered, it could destroy everything they'd worked for. We need to get ahead of this, he said firmly. What if we proposed a series of small-scale, voluntary trials? Something to show quick results while maintaining our ethical standards? Janus's form brightened. That could work. We could involve Dr. Rodriguez and our top Yadaran scientist. Over the next few weeks, they threw themselves into organizing the trials. Dr. Elena Rodriguez proved to be an invaluable ally, her enthusiasm for the project infectious. Their first major breakthrough came when they successfully treated a human volunteer suffering from a rare genetic disorder using a combination of Yadaran techniques and human medical practices. The positive media coverage of the successful treatment began to sway public opinion. Vincent allowed himself a moment of hope as he watched the news reports, feeling that they were finally making real progress. But his relief was short-lived. Late one night, as he was preparing to leave the office, Janus burst in, her form pulsating with agitation. "Vincent, we have a problem," she said, her voice urgent. "Counselor Vex has gone against Matriarch Zara's orders. He sent a covert team to Earth. They're planning to collect human genetic samples without consent." Vincent felt his blood run cold. "Where?" he demanded, already reaching for his comm unit. "Near the research facility," Janus replied. "They're targeting a populated area to blend in." Vincent's military training kicked in as he alerted Colonel Harper and began formulating a plan. As he raced out of the office, Janus by his side, he knew they were in a race against time. The fragile alliance between humans and Yadarans hung in the balance, and it was up to them to prevent a diplomatic catastrophe that could undo everything they'd worked for. The city streets blurred past as Vincent sped towards the coordinates Janus had provided. His mind raced, strategizing how to intercept the rogue Yadaran team without causing a public scene. As they approached the bustling city center, Vincent spotted a group of individuals moving with unnatural fluidity through the crowd. "There," he pointed, bringing the vehicle to a stop. "Janus, stay here and coordinate with Harper's team. I'm going in." Before she could protest, Vincent was out of the car, weaving through the throng of people. He could see the Yadaran operatives ahead, their disguises nearly perfect, but for the subtle shimmer of their forms. As he closed in, the leader of the group turned, locking eyes with Vincent. In that moment, he knew his cover was blown. The Yadaran operative moved with incredible speed, darting down a narrow alley. Vincent gave chase, his heart pounding as he navigated the urban labyrinth. He could hear the sound of Harper's joint human Yadaran security force in the distance, but knew he had to act now to prevent the situation from escalating further. Rounding a corner, Vincent found himself face-to-face with the Yadaran leader. Without hesitation, the alien struck, its form shifting and elongating in ways that defied human physiology. Vincent ducked and weaved, relying on his combat training and newfound knowledge of Yadaran biology. The fight was intense but brief. Vincent managed to use the Yadaran's own momentum against it, pinning the alien against a wall without causing serious harm. As he held the struggling operative, he heard the approaching footsteps of Harper's team. "It's over," Vincent said firmly, meeting the Yadaran's alien gaze. "Let's end this peacefully." As the security team secured the area and took the rogue operatives into custody, Vincent knew that while they had averted an immediate crisis, the real challenges were just beginning. The incident would undoubtedly spark a new wave of public concern and media scrutiny. He and Janus would have to navigate the complex aftermath, balancing the need for transparency with the importance of maintaining the integrity of the collaboration. Looking at Janus across the chaotic scene, Vincent saw his own mix of relief and apprehension mirrored in her alien features. They had a long road ahead, filled with obstacles both expected and unforeseen. But as they exchanged a nod of understanding, Vincent felt a renewed sense of purpose. Together, they would face whatever challenges lay ahead in their quest to bridge the gap between their two species. Species. The weight of their shared responsibility settled over them like a heavy cloak. In the days following the incident with Counselor Vex's operatives, Vincent and Janus found themselves thrust into a whirlwind of activity. The unauthorized operation had sparked a firestorm of media attention and public concern, threatening to unravel the fragile trust they had worked so hard to build. "We need to get ahead of this," Vincent said, pacing the length of their shared office. "Show people the real benefits of our collaboration." Janus's form rippled with agreement. "What if we organize public demonstrations of our medical technology? Let people see the results for themselves." Vincent snapped his fingers. "Brilliant. We'll set up events in major cities, showcase live treatments." Over the next few weeks, they threw themselves into organizing a series of public demonstrations. Dr. Elena Rodriguez proved invaluable, selecting suitable volunteers with genetic disorders that Yadarin technology could effectively treat. The first event took place in New York City's Central Park. A massive screen displayed real-time genetic data as a young woman with cystic fibrosis underwent treatment. The crowd watched in awe as her DNA sequence shifted, correcting the faulty gene. I can breathe," the woman gasped, taking her first full, clear breath in years. The crowd erupted in cheers. Similar scenes played out in London, Tokyo, and other major cities around the globe. Each successful treatment chipped away at the wall of fear and mistrust that had been building. As public opinion began to shift, Dr. Rodriguez made a breakthrough in her research. She burst into Vincent and Janus's office one morning, her eyes bright with excitement. "I've found a way to integrate certain human genetic markers into Yadarin DNA," she announced. "This could solve the Yadarin genetic crisis without extensive human involvement." Vincent felt a wave of relief wash over him. This discovery could address many of the ethical concerns surrounding their collaboration. However, not everyone was convinced. Derek Chambers, the anti-alien activist, intensified his campaign against the Human Yadarin Alliance. His protest grew larger and more disruptive, and he began spreading wild conspiracy theories about secret government experiments. "We can't ignore him anymore," Vincent said, watching footage of Chambers' latest rally. "I need to confront him directly." Janus's form pulsed with concern. "Are you sure that's wise?" Vincent nodded grimly. "It's time to take a stand." The debate was scheduled for primetime television. As Vincent stepped onto the stage, he felt the weight of two worlds on his shoulders. Chambers stood across from him, eyes blazing with fervor. "Mr. Aldrin," Chambers began, his voice dripping with disdain, "how can you justify exposing humanity to alien influence? How do we know the Yadarins aren't plotting to take over our planet?" Vincent took a deep breath, steeling himself. "Mr. Chambers, I understand your fears, but I've seen firsthand the benefits of this collaboration. The Yadarins aren't here to conquer us, they're here to work with us." As the debate progressed, Vincent found himself speaking, not just from prepared talking points, but from his heart. He shared his personal experiences with Yadarin technology, the lives that had been saved, the suffering that had been alleviated. "And yes," he said, meeting the camera's gaze, "I've grown close to my Yadarin colleague, Janus. Our relationship may be unconventional, but it's built on mutual respect and a shared vision for the future." His words resonated with viewers. In the days following the debate, polls showed a significant increase in support for the Human Yadarin Alliance. Encouraged by this progress, Matriarch Zara reached out with a bold proposal, expanding their collaboration into space exploration. The idea of combining Yadarin faster-than-light travel technology with human adaptability sparked excitement among scientists of both species. Colonel Harper threw his support behind the initiative, lobbying world leaders to back a joint human Yadarin space program. "This could advance our technology by centuries," he argued in closed-door meetings, "and potentially lead us to new habitable worlds." As plans for the first joint space mission took shape, Vincent and Janus found themselves selected to lead the human Yadarin crew. Their unique bond and experience bridging the gap between their species made them ideal candidates. The announcement reignited debates about the nature of their relationship, But Vincent and Janus were too focused on the task at hand to pay much attention. They threw themselves into intensive training, undergoing rigorous physical and psychological evaluations. During a particularly grueling simulation, Vincent found himself struggling to adapt to the Yadarin design controls. Frustration mounted as he failed to complete the exercise for the third time. "I can't do this," he muttered, slumping in his seat. Janus's form shimmered beside him. "You can," she said softly. "Your adaptability is what makes humans unique. Try approaching it from a different angle." Her words cut through his frustration. Taking a deep breath, Vincent closed his eyes, reimagining the control interface. When he opened them, his hands moved with newfound confidence, guiding the simulated ship to a perfect landing. As the launch date approached, a new threat emerged. Intelligence reports suggested a radical human faction was planning to sabotage the mission. Vincent's military instincts kicked in as he worked with both human and Yadarin security forces to implement enhanced protection measures. On the eve of the launch, Vincent stood at the observation deck of the Space Center, gazing up at the stars. Janus's form shimmered beside him, a comforting presence in the face of the unknown. "Tomorrow we make history," Vincent said softly. Janus's form pulsed in agreement. Two species venturing into the cosmos together. As they stood there, the weight of their responsibility settled over them. The eyes of two worlds were upon them, their hopes and fears intertwined with the success of this mission. Whatever challenges lay ahead, Vincent knew that together they would face them head-on. The night sky stretched out before them, vast and full of possibility. Tomorrow they would take the first step into a new era of human-Yadarin cooperation, charting a course for the future of both their species. The weight of their shared responsibility settled over them like a heavy cloak as they gazed at the stars, contemplating the momentous journey that lay ahead. Their moment of quiet reflection was abruptly shattered by the shrill beep of Vincent's communicator. He answered it swiftly, his face growing taut as he listened to the urgent message. "We need to go," he said to Janus, his voice low and serious. "There's been a security breach at the launch facility." They raced through the corridors of the Space Center, their footsteps echoing in the tense silence. Upon reaching the security hub, they found Colonel Harper already there, his face grim as he studied the monitors. "It's Grayson," Harper said without preamble. "He's leading a team of infiltrators. They're using stolen credentials to access restricted areas." Vincent's mind raced, assessing the threat. "How many?" "At least 6, Harper replied. "They're armed with some kind of experimental weapons. Our sensors are having trouble tracking them." Janus's form rippled with concern. "Those weapons, they're designed to disrupt Yadarin physiology, aren't they?" Harper nodded grimly. "We think so, which means you need to be extra careful, Janus." Vincent's mind focused. "We need to move now. Every second we waste gives them more time to sabotage the mission." He quickly outlined a plan, coordinating with the joint human-Yadarin security team. As they prepared to sweep the facility, Vincent turned to Janus. "I know you can handle yourself, but please, be cautious," he said, his voice softening for a moment. Janus's form pulsed in acknowledgement. "You too, Vincent." They moved through the facility with practiced efficiency, clearing room after room. The tension mounted with each passing minute, the silence broken only by the soft crackle of their communication devices. Suddenly, a burst of energy tore through the air, narrowly missing Vincent's head. He ducked behind a console, heart pounding. "Contact!" he shouted into his comm. "Section B, Level 3. The room erupted into chaos. The infiltrators, their faces hidden behind advanced tactical masks, unleashed a barrage of energy weapons. Vincent could see the air shimmer where the beams passed, distorting the space around them. He caught sight of Janus across the room, her form shifting and undulating to avoid the deadly fire. She moved with incredible grace, using her Yadarin abilities to outmaneuver the attackers. Vincent's military training kicked in. He vaulted over the console, tackling one of the infiltrators to the ground. They grappled fiercely, Vincent's enhanced strength matching his opponent's desperation. Nearby, Janus had engaged 2 of the attackers simultaneously. Her form rippled and flowed, seemingly impossible to hit. She managed to disarm one, sending his weapon skittering across the floor. The fight raged on, a deadly dance of human and Yeteran against the saboteurs. Vincent's mind raced, looking for an advantage. His eyes landed on a nearby control panel. "Janus!" he shouted. "The environmental controls!" Understanding flashed between them. Janus's form elongated, stretching across the room to reach the panel. With a swift movement, she activated the facility's atmospheric regulators. The air in the room suddenly became dense and heavy. The human infiltrators staggered, struggling to breathe in the altered atmosphere. Vincent and the security team, prepared for the change, pressed their advantage. In a matter of minutes, it was over. The saboteurs lay subdued on the ground, their weapons disabled and confiscated. As the security team secured the prisoners, Vincent approached the leader, Marcus Grayson. He removed the man's mask, revealing a face twisted with anger and fear. "Why?" Vincent demanded. "Why risk everything we've worked for?" Grayson spat on the ground. "You're selling out humanity to these aliens. We won't stand for it." Vincent shook his head, disgust evident in his voice. "You're wrong. This collaboration is our future. It's hope for both our species." As Grayson was led away, Vincent turned to find Janus beside him. Her form shimmered with fatigue, but also a sense of triumph. "Are you all right?" he asked, concern evident in his voice. Janus's form pulsed in affirmation. "I am. That was intense." Vincent nodded, the adrenaline of the fight still coursing through him. "You were incredible out there. The way you moved, how you used your abilities, it was something else." A soft ripple passed through Janus's form, the Yeteran equivalent of a smile. "We make a good team, Vincent." As they surveyed the aftermath of the battle, Vincent's communicator buzzed. It was Dr. Rodriguez, her voice tight with concern. "Vincent, Janus, we need you in the medical bay immediately. There's been a development with the Yeteran High Council. It's urgent." They exchanged a look, both sensing that their challenges were nowhere near the end. As they hurried towards the medical bay, Vincent couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning of a much larger struggle. The thwarted sabotage attempt had been a victory, but he knew that the true test of their mission and the future of human-Yeteran relations still lay ahead. The thwarted sabotage attempt had been a victory, but he knew that the true test of their mission and the future of human-Yeteran relations still lay before them. As Vincent and Janus entered the medical bay, Dr. Rodriguez's tense expression confirmed their suspicions. She gestured for them to join her at a holographic display. "The Yeteran High Council has detected an anomaly in their long-range scans," she explained, pulling up a 3D star map. "It's unlike anything they've seen before." The display zoomed in on a distant star system, revealing a swirling vortex of energy. "They believe it could be a tear in space-time," Dr. Rodriguez continued. "The Council wants us to investigate immediately." Vincent's eyebrows shot up. "That's well beyond our original mission parameters." Janus's form pulsed with excitement. "This could be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, Vincent. Imagine what we could learn." After a moment's hesitation, Vincent nodded. "All right, let's inform the crew and prepare for departure." The next few hours were a whirlwind of activity as the team made final preparations. As Vincent oversaw the loading of additional supplies, he couldn't shake a mix of anticipation and apprehension. This mission was about to venture into truly uncharted territory. Finally, with all systems checked and double-checked, the hybrid human-Yeteran spacecraft lifted off. As they broke free of Earth's atmosphere, Vincent gazed out at the stars, acutely aware of the weight of two worlds' hopes riding on their shoulders. The first 6 months of their journey passed in a blur of routine maintenance, scientific observations, and cultural exchange between the human and Yeteran crew members. Vincent and Janus's leadership fostered an environment of mutual respect and cooperation, with each species learning from the other's strengths. Then on a seemingly ordinary day, alarms blared throughout the ship. Vincent rushed to the bridge, finding Janus already there, her form rippling with urgency. "Our sensors have detected an anomaly," she reported, gesturing to the main view screen. "It matches the energy signature the Yeteran High Council observed." Vincent leaned in, studying the readouts. How far? Less than a light year, Janus replied. We could reach it within days using our FTL drive. After a brief discussion with the senior staff, Vincent made the call. Set a course. Let's see what we're dealing with. As they approached the anomaly, excitement and tension mounted among the crew. The ship dropped out of FTL, and collective gasp filled the bridge as they beheld the sight before them. A massive swirling vortex of energy dominated the view screen, its colors shifting in mesmerizing patterns. But it was what lay beyond that truly captured their attention. A planet shimmering with the unmistakable blue-green hues of life. Incredible, Vincent breathed. Are we seeing this correctly? One of the human scientists, Dr. Chen, nodded emphatically. Preliminary scans indicate a breathable atmosphere, liquid water, and complex organic compounds. It's a habitable world, Captain. Janice's form pulsed rapidly, her equivalent of a quickened heartbeat. And there's more. I'm detecting faint electromagnetic signals. They're weak, but consistent with primitive technology. Vincent's mind raced with the implications. We need to investigate further. Prepare a landing party and... His words were cut short as the ship suddenly lurched, alarms blaring once again. What's happening? Vincent demanded, steadying himself against a console. The chief engineer's voice crackled over the comm. The anomaly is affecting our propulsion systems, Captain. We're losing power to the main engines. Vincent's training kicked in as he barked out orders, coordinating efforts to stabilize the ship. But it quickly became clear that they were fighting a losing battle. We have no choice, he announced grimly. We need to attempt an emergency landing on the planet's surface. The next few minutes were a blur of controlled chaos as the crew fought to guide their stricken vessel through the planet's atmosphere. Vincent worked in seamless tandem with Janus, their complementary skills and instincts proving invaluable in the crisis. With a bone-jarring impact, the ship plowed into dense vegetation, finally coming to rest in a clearing of what appeared to be a vast alien jungle. As the dust settled, Vincent took stock of their situation. Miraculously, there were no serious injuries among the crew, though the ship had sustained significant damage. Status report, he called out, his voice steady despite the circumstances. As the crew responded, detailing system failures and structural damage, Vincent's gaze met Janus's. In that moment of shared understanding, they both knew that their mission had just become something far more challenging and potentially more rewarding than they could have ever imagined. Vincent addressed the assembled crew, his voice firm and reassuring. Our mission has changed, but our purpose remains the same. We came out here to explore, to learn, and to forge connections between our species. Now we have an unprecedented opportunity to do just that. He gestured to the alien landscape visible through the viewports. Out there is a world unlike any we've encountered before. Our job now is to survive, to repair our ship, and to uncover the secrets this planet holds. As the crew dispersed to begin their new tasks, Vincent turned to Janus. We're in uncharted territory now, he said softly. Janus's form shimmered with grit. Together, Vincent, we'll face whatever comes, together. With a nod, Vincent stepped towards the ship's exit, ready to take his first steps onto this alien world. As the airlock hissed open, he braced himself for whatever lay ahead, knowing that the true test of their mission, and of human Yataran cooperation, was only just beginning.
You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.